The Celtics took a commanding 2-0 series lead in the finals after pulling out a win against the Mavs in the fourth quarter last night. Boston got contributions up and down, including 26 points from Drew Holiday and a huge block from Derek White in the closing minutes. As for their stars, Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Brown shot an efficient 53% from the field in his 21-point performance. Meanwhile, Tatum was one rebound shy of a triple-double in Game 2. All right, S.A., who do you think's the best player on the Celtics? Is it Tatum or Brown?
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you that Jayson Tatum is the best player, but Jaylen Brown certainly looks like it right now because he's accepting all the defensive assignments or whatever. But I'm still going to go with Jayson Tatum. Jayson Tatum hasn't played better than Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown would be the MVP as far as I'm concerned at this particular moment. But that doesn't mean he's the best player on the Boston Celtics, that he carries the load as the #1 option on a night-in, night-out basis, and you can rely on him to drop in 26 to 27 a night. Not to mention the fact that Jayson Tatum is still showing up and showing out on the defensive side of the ball this series. He's not shooting the ball effectively, and we get that part. Jayson Tatum has played some damn good defense this series. And so we have to give credit where credit is due, that he's finding different ways to make a viable contribution to the Boston Celtics to help them win in this series thus far. We got to give credit where credit is due in that regard. I'm going to go with Jayson Tatum still, but Jaylen Brown is a bad brother. He's something special. And if the finals were to end the day, he'd be the MVP. And by the way, Shannon, we see all these endorsement deals with Jayson Tatum or whatever. What I said that made news that was misconstrued a couple of weeks ago when I talked about how somebody tried to imply that he wasn't liked. I said I like him, and I think that a lot of players in the league and a lot of people in the league like Jaylen Brown. But he's brilliant. He's very smart. He's politically conscientious. He has an activist soul. And when you're that bright, that smart, that politically conscientious, and what have you, it doesn't necessarily attract you to Madison Avenue, which is why you see others with endorsement deals instead of him. But his game and his character may win the day over. At least we're all hoping that it will, because Jaylen Brown deserves whatever comes his way in a good way.
I think Jaylen Brown has forced me to rethink my position. I, for the longest time, said Jayson Tatum was the best player. I think a lot of that had to do with because of this narrative that was around that Jayson Tatum he was supposed to have next. He was mentored by Kobe. He trained with Kobe. He adopted the Kobe's mindset. If you, Stephen A., he was a 3-time first-team All-NBA player. I think he made the All-Star game first. And so he had all these things lining up for him. He was supposed to be the face, the next face of the NBA. Nobody's ever mentioned that about Jaylen Brown. He wasn't supposed to be the next face of the NBA. And so naturally, everything was kind of geared toward him. Well, they're only going to go as far as Jayson Tatum takes them, and so forth and so on. But this year, although they were very close in scoring, I think they one average 25, 26, or 26, 27, the other average 25, 26. But if you look at these playoffs, it's hard for you to differentiate and to say with categorically for certainty that Jayson Tatum is a better player than Jaylen Brown. It just is. Jaylen Brown can do the defensive assignment. They didn't put Jayson Tatum on Luka. Jaylen Brown drew that assignment. And when the toughest guys, he normally draws the assignment. And he's still asked to give you the 20-plus points on the other end while exerting an awful lot on the defensive end. If you ask me right now, at the beginning of the year, Stephen A., and even going into these playoffs, I said Jayson Tatum. I can no longer say that with any degree of certainty right now.
Can't blame you for that. I'm still my only caveat that I would challenge, and I know we got to get out here in about 30 seconds, Shannon. The only caveat that I would throw out there for you is this. You have to show me over the course of an 82-game schedule with you as the primary offensive option for defense to work against schematically that you can answer that call the way Jayson Tatum has answered that call. Jaylen Brown looks better in the postseason and has in the past, true. But he hasn't had to be the #1 option over the course of 82 games for a season wearing that Boston Celtics uniform and still average 27 a night. That's why Jayson Tatum's first-team All-NBA.
I'll concede that to you, because if you're saying that because the defenses are gearing up to stop Jayson Tatum and JB gets the feast on second level and not the double teams that JT constantly faces, I'll concede that. But man, JB is playing. He's had an unbelievable playoff run, and saying he earned that $300 million contract.